one of the greatest empires in world history was the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was one of the most prosperous and powerful empires in the antiquity of Africa. Its growth and expansion from the 13th century onwards was legendary and pivotal in the history and culture of Western Africa. The Mali Empire Volume 1 from author J.P. Martin, available on Amazon, is a book which provides the full historical record of the Mali Empire. From their control over the trans-Saharan trade routes and development of great cities such as Timbuktu, to their influential royal class who produced notable African kings such as Mansa Musa, Sundiata Keita, and Mansa Abubakar Keita II, the Mali Empire made a significant impression. This book is perfect for anyone interested in learning more about the history of Western Africa. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The Mali Empire, Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin. Go to Amazon.com and get your copy today.
Alexis here, coming to you with an awesome sale of 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com. I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity, getting 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Friday is going well. Well, it's Friday here in Atlanta. Do me a favor. Do me a solid, guys. Hit that like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. It really means a lot. Your support really means a lot. So, again, just thank you for the support. I love y'all. And just thank you. It's all about gratitude, and I'm just thankful for all the support you guys have given me over the years, how you guys continue to rock with me, and I'm going to continue to rock with you. I'm not going anywhere. Like I told somebody the other day, especially when it comes to me and engaging the continent, that they're gonna have to drag me out of the continent for me to stop going. And really, they can't, because I'm a citizen of two countries on the continent. So, once again, guys, I just want to thank you all for the support over the years. It really means a lot. Everyone, if you're watching this and if you've been on a tour with me, thank you for joining me on the tours. We are rolling to Nigeria next month. Oh, let's talk about some next month. We're leaving Sunday. I'm tripping. We are rolling to Nigeria on Sunday. Funny how time flies. That's a song by Janet Jackson. Meaning, y'all, we only have 4 months left in the year. Again, we only have 4 months left in the year. Once again, I don't think you guys are following me. We only have 4 months left in the year. The year has gone by so fast. As they say, the older you get, the faster it goes by. I just hope everyone who's watching this, you're taking advantage of each day. You're making the most of yourself each day. You're waking up better the next day than you were the previous day, if that makes sense. Again, you're waking up better and stronger, smarter, wiser the next day than you were the previous day. So, continue to work hard, push yourself. Yeah, 2023 is a wrap already. We might as well just say 2024, because we are almost there. I'm going to bring Complex is waiting for us. He's a special guest. He actually lives in Chicago, and he can give us his take on the current situation. But I want to play a video of, and we discussed this earlier last week, and basically just this is what you guys voted for. This is what you guys voted for. President Biden said his top two initiatives were going to be immigration and LGBTQ, and he's a man of his word. He is a man of his word. So don't be upset now. This is what you guys voted for. So there's a specific clip I want to show that I'm looking for, where a guy was holding up a build the wall. Here we go. That it? Yeah, this is it right here. Let me play this video real quick. Then we'll bring on conflict.
Hand in hand with a smart curriculum that's already planned. Yes, you can.
Cities all over the U.S. have been bracing for an influx of migrants that appears to be well underway, and many from coast to coast are finding they don't have the resources to handle all the demand.
And that includes right here in Chicago. Casey Cronus continues our team coverage live from the city's South Shore neighborhood.
Natalie and Anthony, South Shore neighbors are pushing back against the city's plan to house several hundred migrants at the former and now vacant South Shore High School. They tell us they have now filed a lawsuit against the city in an attempt to halt that plan. Located at 76th and Constance, the city is eyeing the building for another migrant respite site. This as officials have run out of room to house migrant families, many who are still sleeping on the floors of local police stations. If their plan goes through, the school would become a site where migrants could temporarily sleep, eat, and shower. But many residents aren't happy about it and made that clear during a meeting last week. And in about 30 minutes, they'll once again gather at the school to protest the city's plans.
Looking at the numbers coming out of City Hall and the state of Illinois, upwards of $150 million roughly for 6 months. We believe that though that $150 million would have been in some way eligible to come into our community.
When you say our community, what do you mean by our community? Don't say the Black community, because all the Black community wanted was to get rid of the orange man. The orange man is gone now. So why are you complaining? You didn't want anything in return for your votes. So therefore, that $150 million belongs to the immigrant community.
Communities to help our crime problems, help with our economic problems, help with our housing issues. And as we all aware, Black people are the largest number of homeless in Chicago. So if you're going to help anyone, help the current Black homeless first.
And many of those residents have already started to gather here outside of the school. Again, that rally to start in about 30 minutes. We have reached out to the city's legal team for their response to that lawsuit, but are still waiting to hear back. In the meantime, many local groups are working to help collect donations for migrant families, including the Pilsen Food Pantry, Sinai Chicago, and Lakeview Lutheran Church. Reporting live from the Old South Shore High School, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Cities all over the U.S. have been.
There's one more clip I want to play, then I'm going to bring you on, Complex.
Meet Class Tag, your secret weapon for rocking the up.
Right now, a shuttered South Shore High School could soon become the next stop for the influx of migrants landing here in Chicago. In the next hour, city officials will meet with community members who some say, not in my backyard. CBS 2's Marissa Perlman is live in South Shore where the meeting is set to take place. Marissa.
Well, Erica, we just heard from some of those neighbors here in South Shore who say they want this space that's supposed to be set up temporarily for these migrants to stay in the community, to be used for the community that already lives here.
We as a community have been fighting for years to have access to this school once the city unjustly closed it.
Well, the system of busing migrants into sanctuary cities like Chicago started last August. The school had been vacant since 2014. In 2020, the police department moved in to operate a temporary professional development center there. But now the city plans to turn it into what they call a respite center. Now, this is different from traditional shelters. This would be a transitional location used for migrants before they're placed in a shelter. Now, we've shared how migrants around the city are sleeping in the lobbies of police stations because there simply isn't enough shelter space. Community members say the city has put very little thought into this move, calling it an intrusion into daily life here in South Shore.
It is not fair to put the burden of these communities where there are more resources elsewhere.
We will hear more in less than an hour on the city's plans as they meet with neighbors here in the community in what's anticipated to be a packed and heated meeting. We'll keep you posted tonight on CBS 2 News at 10 o'clock. For now, we're live in South Shore. I'm Marissa Perlman.
Complex, go ahead.
Man, I don't even know where to start. But what's going on, Dinus?
What's up?
Peace and blessings to the audience, man. My light just went out some. Not my lights, like I'm in Nigeria, though. But man, so the title of the show deals with xenophobia.
Right, because I was watching a couple videos where there were some of the people who were at the hearings talking about some, we're gonna throw hands with them, pretty much. So
I mean, man. So that's why I say I don't know where to begin. My fellow Chicagoans and my people do have a right to their gripe about the lack of resources that are received to Black people. So they do have a good gripe, and the gripe has been here before the immigrants have got here. Let me use my proper English with my college degrees. Before the immigrants have gotten here, these gripes were here. Contracts and jobs. HUD Act Section 3 states that most federal contracts that come through the city of Chicago, 33% should go to what used to be Black folks, but then they got divided when the alphabets got added in. When alphabets got added in, that means that the white this community called the white man was able to get in, because if you wanted those letters, then your race doesn't matter. So all contracts for Blacks in this city got divided even more amongst people who wasn't divided in. So there's a distinction, and I think Abube talked about it with Niger and Nigeria and the different sections he talked about. This is about resources, not race. It's mainly about resources. So I want to bring some clarity as to the side of the people of the city of Chicago, and then as to the side of the immigrants coming over. Now, I'm going to take a pause if you have any questions for right now. Or want me to keep going?
No, floor is yours. Go ahead.
All right. So as far as some of the immigrants coming in, I've been out on the streets. I've been meeting a lot of the what they call immigrants. They're mainly, the ones I've met are nice. They're mainly from Venezuela and Colombia. So I met a Colombian last night. And the reason I met him, because I asked him, where you from, Ghana or Nigeria? I've been there like you've been there, right, Dinus? So, we kind of get a taste for the faces and where they're from, right? So I'm talking to the brother. He started speaking straight Spanish. And me habla español un poquito. So...
one second, Complex. What am I spewing, Elvis, that's anti-immigrant? What am I spewing? I'm rooting for y'all. I'm saying, listen, this is what Black folks voted for. So I'm trying to figure out why are they complaining about it. I'm rooting for y'all. Actually, Elvis. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, Elvis, calm down for a minute, man. That's what I'm trying to cover, Elvis. You got to wait sometime. You be
That's
ready
what
to
I'm
jump,
saying,
Elvis.
man. Yeah, I'm rooting for y'all.
I'm ready to jump down on something. Come on,
Yeah.
Elvis. Look, this finna be. That's why
Yeah,
I got.
I'm rooting. Listen, y'all got my back. Listen, I got your guys' back.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm gonna talk about the rights and what this. So I made it clear that Chicagoans are talking about resources. Black Chicagoans are talking about resources, not race, not because they're immigrants. They're just talking about resources, and most people are looking over that. They're talking about the division of resources in the city, and the division of resources specifically for blacks. They're not saying don't give it anything to immigrants, because what you have not seen is that the Black African Americans on the ground actually helping the immigrants. So what I'm going to say, these immigrants in particular, Venezuela and Colombia, Venezuela is 68% black. Anybody take your chance right now and look up the black population of Venezuela. Colombia supposedly is less. So let's start with the fact that it's actually said, well, you know, I'm not going to say it's the fact I've seen yet. It's actually said that South America has more Africans there than even North America. They say that South America has the majority of Africa, has a larger number of Africans outside of the continent. So if we're dealing with Afro-Latino, I mean African culture, Latino language, then a lot of the people are misnomer or misled. They don't know that a lot of people coming in have a culture that they share, have been through slavery and colonialism. So to bring points of unity, I want to talk about it. What I see here, when I see immigrants walking up and down the street, some of them say they're hungry. Now, what I don't understand how they would drop them off, not give them as much as they need, to where I have seen some say, hey, you know, I'm hungry. Maybe somebody said, hey, you know where the weed at? I'm like, hey, do I like a dude that know where the weed at? But, you know, I ain't mad at him. But that I'm being real with y'all. That's a question that got asked to me. And I thought they was, at first, without them speaking, you would think that they are mixed or light-skinned blacks. So I don't know what the media is portraying. And I don't know why. Well, I'll say the mass media, because
I would say the majority of faces you're seeing are more Latino, not non-African Latino faces that they show on TV. On TV.
Mm-hmm. What I've seen on the ground, boots on the ground, what I've seen is Afro-Latinos. That's what I'm saying, Dynus. I've seen directly Afro-Latinos. That's why I told you, Dynus, I want to go. I'm like, Dynus, look, I can go out on the street and record what I see, because they walk around where I'm at. Because where I'm at is safer for them. South Shore, I'm not gonna say it's not safe, but hey, South Shore Chicagoans, and I used to live in South Shore, so don't be mad at me. I stayed on Merrill and a couple other places, so don't be mad, but you kind of know it's juking out there as far as war stuff goes. So, I mean, Terrytown is the nickname, so many other nicknames. So my bigger question is, why would you drop immigrants who are coming from colonial racism of Colombia, where Afro-Latinos have a lack of rights, actually? And I want to bring y'all to a point of unity that you are dealing with people who are sharing in another form or fashion of what you're dealing with here in America. So everyone that's coming over here is not from Mexico. There's a lot of Venezuelans and Colombians. And again, somebody look it up. What is the black population of Venezuela? What's the black population or African population of Colombia? Their neighbors, their neighboring countries. What are they dealing with? And what have they been dealing with? Because maybe you'll have a little more about yourself when you look at their humanity.
Well, people, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat room here shortly. People in the chat room are saying, well, they're not us, as if we don't have anything in common with them. That's what, you know.
Oh, for real?
That's what some people are saying in the chat room.
Okay, I would like those people to explain how they're not us. I'm looking at the chat right now. So please, and when you come in, please explain how they're not us. I mean, I understand you said they don't share our experience, but if you look at your DNA and you look at your family history, a lot of them came through the path of Haiti or Haiti, Jamaica, and in South America. In my DNA test, I have some people from South America in there, and I have some people from some islands that stopped before they got to Virginia. So you must, I hope you have a thorough knowledge of the slave trade routes and the routes of the currents and where the currents go and how they hit the coast. Because they must hit the coast in the islands before they can touch America. There were no airplanes involved in this. So I would hope that you're not just speaking rhetoric and you're not just speaking from ignorance and you've actually looked at it. Because if not, you may get slain on this one today.
And links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, please call in. And also, don't be shy and stingy. Go ahead and hit the. Oh, let me get the banner going. Go ahead and hit the super chat button, and also Cash App. Link is the banner is scrolling at the bottom. Or go ahead, Complex.
Hey, Todd Mayick. Todd Mayick said my DNA test also got white folks from England, and they your people too. I do got white folks in my family from England, actually noblemen. So yeah, you're right. But so do they, and so do you. I mean, your last name on here your name is Todd Mayick. Like, dude, for real? You want to do this to yourself? Like, I'm with it today. I'm on Chicago mode today. That's why it's complex today. You want it?
Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Dynus, and hello to you, Complex. My main point is the title in the show. I get it. I mean, it's YouTube. You want to, attract clicks. But what happened in South Africa? If you're trying to refer to the xenophobia, xenophobic attack that happened in South Africa, people died, people were murdered, people were killed, businesses were burned. So if you're trying to draw some parallels to what would happen in Chicago, I think that's wrong because it's almost like you're advocating for people to attack people and kill people and burn businesses.
It's a question mark. It's a question mark because if you watch and listen to some of the council meetings they're having, you got folks like, listen, we're gonna rise up against these people. We're gonna rise up. So that's why the stream is titled the way it's titled.
All right.
You get
it? What's your position on this, Dynus?
I'm for it. Like I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And the reason why I am for it is because this is what you voted for. Black folks voted for this. So why are you complaining? So I agree. I support it. What Governor Abbott is doing, what Governor DeSantis is doing as far as shipping the immigrants to sanctuary cities, I support it. And I support that they drop them off or place them in Black communities because Black folks were the loudest saying that they saved the Democratic Party. So I'm for it. I support it 150%.
Hey, Terrence Forrest Jr., send Dynus a Cash App or something. So I can answer your question of what shared language or culture does these people have with Blacks. I do it for free, but it'd be more love if you could send Dynus some, for the time.
And Complex, what's your view on it?
Like I said, I met them on the streets. That's how I know that they're from Venezuela and Colombia. I speak to them. You know what I'm saying? Elvis, that was you who asked the question, right?
Yeah.
I'm speaking to them. They asked me, if I had food, whatever. If I had, I had something on me, I gave them some whatever food I had on me. Had a conversation with them, asked them where they were from. Asked them why they were here, what they were leaving from. So, this is just about humanity, the basic respect or Owo in Yoruba. Owo, the basic respect of humanity and saying, hey, I see these people here. Instead of listen to the media and listen and having ignorance about them, why don't you just ask the source? Hey, why are you here? What was your journey like? Why did you leave your country? So my take on it is they're human in humanity and they're Afro-Latinos here in Chicago. I can't speak for other places like New York. Chicago, I know they're African-centered. As I said, the Colombian brother I seen, I thought he's from Nigeria or Ghana.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Has it been ascertained as to whether they've taken any allocations from, specifically the Black community in Chicago and reallocated it to these people? in terms of monetary, in terms of money.
That's what these council meetings are about. That's what the black residents of Chicago are complaining about. That's what's going on. And so the school, all right, so they want to house the immigrants at a school. This school, which is in a predominantly black neighborhood, was shut down. You know, this school was used to educate black children.
But that was prior to this, Dynasty. The school had already been shut down and was being used by the police department for some other, they were utilizing it for another reason.
Yo, turn off the music, yo.
So, Elvis, I did work at that school before for Ceasefire. Ceasefire is one of the anti-violence initiatives in Chicago. My job was to go to the most dangerous high schools in Chicago to get peace. South Shore was one of the schools I was assigned to, actually. And it was strategically shut down. See, when the blacks here are saying something, they're not to be ignored. What we're doing is allowing media magic, as I call it, to separate us on the subject. What we're doing is allowing it to come between us and these Afro-Latinos coming in and make us look at race, which we've been doing too much. Light skin, dark skin, immigrant black versus African, FBA, this, that, and the other. It's the biggest mistake that could ever be made by a people ever in life, especially the most diverse people on the planet, because Africa has produced the most diversity out of DNA, out of humanity than anyone. So why are we arguing amongst each other while we're still being attacked systemically? That is not even good war tactics. I'm gonna pause there.
Let me go ahead, Todd. Hey, Terrence, thank you for the super chat, but go ahead, Todd.
Hey, what's going on? You can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. First of all, peace. Thanks for having me.
It's kind of muffled, but I mean, you know, you're on your Obama phone. It's okay.
Right. Hey, peace. Thanks for having me. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to say, first of all, complex. What I was saying was not necessarily nothing hostile, you know what I'm saying, or trying to pull somebody card or something like that. And I'm from Milwaukee too, so I understand me and you probably closer in mentality to a bunch of others, like a mud. But I was just saying that because ADOS people, you know, if you want to say ADOS or FBA or whatever, if you want to say, but us people, we are mixed people. So when you talk about like the actual history and how the slave trade happened, and then we say, hey, we claim these people because we are genetically connected to XYZ. I was just saying that we also genetically connected to England, and particularly Wales, Ireland, Scotland. You know, you see what I'm saying? And that's all I was saying when I made that comment.
Is that the same? That's all I want. That's the same as the saying, all kinfolk ain't skinfolk. I mean, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Right. Which also goes back into what you was just saying a little bit ago when you was talking about focusing too much on race. You see what I'm saying? Like that same thing could be used too. You see what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
So what's the net negative of immigrants coming into Chicago? That's what I want to understand.
Well, who you want to answer that? Me or Todd?
Anybody on the platform. I want to hear it.
Todd, you want to go first?
I'm gonna go ahead and defer to you because he asked specifically about Chicago. But I will just say this: when you're talking about limited resources and people, what happens is governments choose winners and losers. And usually what you have is a particular group of people who engage in government to get a particular amount of those resources for themselves. However, our group don't really be on that. And I'll just leave it right there. And I'll defer to you.
Elvis, you got a rebuttal to Todd?
I asked the question. I was asking, what's the net negative of
All
these
right.
immigrants
So
coming
Todd
into
gave
those
you his answer. I
communities?
can give you my answer if you when you're ready, Elvis. Let me know when you're ready.
No, go ahead. I just asked. I just re-asked it. That's all.
The only negative is exactly what Todd said. I agree with Todd. As in the beginning, if you notice, we're being distracted by race instead of and status instead of economics. So again, Dynasty had a show with Abube yesterday about the African continent that was happening in West Africa. That same thing actually has to do with this same thing, actually. When you displace the already economically displaced, like here's the thing, Elvis, you ready? Why did they? Chicago is broken up into 77 neighborhoods, mainly by class and race. Chicago has 77 neighborhoods, with 7 neighborhoods mainly dealing with blacks, and gentrification is removing that. But 77 neighborhoods and only 7. They happen to drop the immigrants in the 7. And not even the 7, but the most highly concentrated black neighborhoods. Now, the sensibility to that socially would be the nicest folks that we could drop you off by, that will share their beans with you, that will share a conversation with you, are those people. So that makes sense to me. But economically, as I stated earlier, if we're already fighting for contracts under HUD Act Section 3, fighting just for the thing that was supposed to be given to us, that Martin Luther King fought for in the Civil Rights Act, led to HUD Act Section 3 and other things. So if we're already fighting over resources that are not being given, if we already have a homeless population, if we're already dealing with gang population, if we're already dealing with a little bit of prostitution, some of these neighborhoods don't have it as much as usual, but if we're already dealing with it and you bring something to it, simple childhood arithmetic would tell you that's addition or multiplication.
Okay. Let me push back a little bit if you allow me, please.
Go ahead.
So what you said about what's happening in Niger and in West Africa, and that's the same thing that's happening here, is not true. They're completely opposite. They're diametrically opposed to each other. But for example, if you know what happened in Venezuela, the United States government put sanctions on Venezuela. They even tried to do a coup on Maduro, the president of Venezuela. So that country has been destabilized for the last 5 years. So a lot of people fled Venezuela. A lot of them, even the president that was killed in Haiti, it was Venezuelans, mercenaries who killed him. So the whole country has become a failed state. So people are fleeing and looking for other opportunities. That's what's going on in Venezuela specifically. I don't know about Colombia too well. So to juxtapose that to what's happening in Niger, you see what's happening in Niger is about France, the influence of France in West Africa, especially in the Francophone nations. So most of these guys who take over power, they're anti-France. They're trying to liberate their countries from the grips of the French. So it's kind of like a mini revolution that's going on within these Francophone nations. So you can't draw a parallel to what's happening here in North America to what's happening in West Africa. So definitely people from Venezuela coming to this country, they're only looking for economic opportunities because their country has been, strangled because of the oil situation. When Maduro took power, you have a guy who was his main opposition who fled to the United States, came to Donald Trump and tried to ask him to overthrow Maduro so that he could become president. It was a big old scandal that was on the news a couple years ago. So Venezuela has nothing to do with West Africa. I just want to point out those differences, but I'll give you the floor back.
Okay. Now, did you not hear me say
So
that?
can I interject right here? Can I interject right here?
Yep.
When it comes to American imperialism and central planning, you can draw a line from Venezuela to Niger. You see what I'm saying? You might have to further abstract it upward a couple times, but you can draw the line because ultimately it is like he said, talking about resources. What are the resources that the people of Niger are walking around on, and Africa in general? It's all about them resources.
So thanks, Todd. So Elvis, do you understand we're saying the correlation with Africa? There's somebody else at play in Venezuela. There's a colonial power at play in Venezuela. There are colonial powers at play in Colombia. And there are more African descendants in that part of South America than there are in North America. So you said, what does it have to do with that? They're from where you're from, Elvis. They're from where you're from. I'm from where you're from, Elvis. It doesn't matter if I have 5% Norwegian or Norway or Germany. They're from where you're, well, I believe you're from. I don't know where you are from because your name is Elvis Morris. Now, I can't tell where you're from. I believe one show you may have been, didn't you say you was from African continent?
Yes, I'm from Liberia. I'm an immigrant to this country.
Okay. So a lot of your people were taken there before they were brought here. Do you know that to be?
Taken where?
South America.
Yes. I mean, we know what happened with the transatlantic slave trade. We know that. So I'm not denying that these people don't have, some, black ancestry. Like you said, it's not about the race. We're looking at the root cause that caused them to try to migrate to the United States. That's the point that I'm making.
The root cause of the mess up of the world right now. What's the root cause? Somebody taking resources, right?
No, I was trying to tell you that you got to look at the geopolitics of it. You look at Venezuela. If you follow Venezuela, the happenings in Venezuela within the last few years, you will understand that right now they're under stringent sanctions from the United States government because they refuse. The president there is not cooperating with the West, especially when it comes to oil prices and getting new pipelines to the United States. He's not collaborating with the U.S. Venezuela is the largest oil producing country in South America. I think one of the largest in the world. They have the largest oil reserve. So we know how the United States operates when it comes to oil. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is that country government, the economy has been strangled. So the people there are feeling the pain. So it's a U.S. policy issue. It's not because they just wanted to leave their country and come to the United States. They has been strangled. Their economy has collapsed. That's why they're coming.
That's
Todd,
hurry up, Todd, because I was ready to say something.
Hey, Elvis, and what we're trying to convey is the exact same thing, that same policy, that same colonialist, imperialist policy, maybe at a different stage, maybe at a different time, but it's the same thing that is happening on the continent of Africa. That's all we're trying to say. It's the same thing.
Elvis, is for you to explain to us, why don't you see that? That's the bigger question. Why don't you see that Africa is struggling at the taking of their resources? Abube had the show on Search for Hero yesterday, I believe. Didas, was it yesterday with Abube as a guest?
Yeah, it was Thursday, yesterday.
So yesterday the show was on. I don't know if you saw it, Elvis. He's breaking down how the world is living off the resources of Africa. How Africa's lights go off here or there, but that same uranium that keeps lights on are being used in the colonial powers country and not the African country. Are you understanding that? So, same thing you said, Venezuela. You said yourself, Venezuela is the biggest oil producer there. So, and then you said America is the one putting the sanctions on. Make it make sense. If America
good.
Wait. Make it make sense. If America's the one putting the sanctions on that's making them leave their country, why is America the one opening the doors with pretty much nothing to stop them? They don't. It could make sense, but I need you to help make that make sense.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to, try to attempt. I'm not the smartest guy, but I'll try to attempt it, right? In Africa, for example, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, their reason for uprising, or even in Guinea, their reason for, having a coup d'etat is because they're tired of their government being subservient to France. Their reserve is held in France, in French banks. Their political, leaders are being controlled by the French government. So for them, it was an uprising to stop the influence of France over their nation. Just oppose that with Venezuela, who refuse to be controlled by the US. It's not like they're already being controlled by the US and you had an uprising where a president took over and said no, no more. It was already a president who refused to collaborate or to cooperate with the US in terms of what their foreign policy is. So there's a difference there. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So because he refused to do what the US wanted, they put sanctions on the economy. The inflation in Venezuela was, I mean, it was astronomical. It's still very, very high. Things have kind of settled, but it's still really, really bad in Venezuela. Food prices went through the roof. A lot of people ran. A lot of them left and went to Colombia because Colombia is a neighboring country of Venezuela. So a lot of them ran into Colombia, and I think those are some of the same people from Venezuela who are now leaving Colombia, searching for greener pasture. So that's just
Elvis.
The clarity I wanted to put on it. Go ahead.
Elvis, hey, can I interject right here? Okay, so what you are describing is literally the same thing that he just said. But it's important to remember that when we look at history, especially in the present, we looking at snapshots. That same thing has already happened in Venezuela before, hence their resolve. The thing that's going on in Niger has already happened in Venezuela. It just happened in the 80s. And the same thing with El Salvador, the same thing you see what I'm saying? In Central America and everything. Colombia, hell, even here in Mexico. I'm in Mexico right now. And if you study the history, because of the economic sanctions and the different little agreements and treaties and all of this kind of stuff, trade deals, there was a point in time when Mexicans couldn't even produce their own tortillas. And if you've ever been here in Mexico, they use tortillas for everything. You see what I'm saying? So go ahead.
I'm not gonna respond yet, Todd. Skylar Williams is on, and before I answer back, I'm gonna ask Skylar Williams. Skylar, do you want me to answer back, or do you want to just go?
No, I just got a quick statement real quick to what you just said. Can you hear me, man?
Yeah.
Okay, you said Venezuela like had a black population of 68%. I saw that statistics. It said like black or African ancestry. I think you gotta be careful. I think people overinflate the amount of black people that live in South America because being black and like having black ancestors is not the same thing. Like you can have 2% African ancestry and be like 98% European. So like I saw statistics that's like 5% African in Venezuela. But yeah, when you say like 68% African, I really didn't believe that because that doesn't sound right. But I think people like overinflate the number of black people who identify as black in Brazil and like Venezuela. That's pretty much it, man.
I appreciate you, Skylar. Where you from?
I'm from America. I'm from here.
No, like
Texas.
Oh, you close.
Texas.
You kind of cross a lot of people from those different places.
Yeah. Repeat that again.
Skyler, where your mama and them from?
The slave trade, pretty much America. Consider the slaves, pretty much.
So
I'm not an immigrant. Yeah.
First, second descendant, second generation.
No, descendant of slaves. Like I'm not an immigrant. I'm from America, the slave trade.
So are you like FBA?
I hear a bit of accent there, my guy, Skyler. So I don't know.
No, man. No, I'm not. I'm from here. No, I'm not. I'm Black American, but I don't identify with Tariq Rashid and his stuff. But I'm African American. Descendant of slave, Atlantic slave trade. I'm not an immigrant, pretty much. But yeah.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah.
You say Todd or Elvis. One of y'all two will say something.
Elvis, you want to go?
Yeah, like I was saying, look, when I just read the chat and I don't like to look at the chat and respond, but a lot of people are saying since I'm Liberian and my country was established by free men who left the United States and established it, that actually align with African Americans, more because those are quote unquote my brothers, which I agree with. And when I come on this platform, and sometimes I tend to disagree with certain things, it's not that I'm against it. We're talking in terms of ideology. It's not in terms of unity for Black people. I'm a Black man. I align with myself with Black people. So I'm not against African American interests. I live in communities where a large African American population. So I'm never against them. I went to school with African Americans as well as other races, and other people from different countries. So it's not something that I'm against, that I'm against. I just want to clarify that. But I'll let somebody, take the floor. I got to take a call from my dad real quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's love, Elvis. Take that call from your dad. So here's the thing. Let's heat this up some more. Because Dynasty has in the title Xenophobic attacks. So regardless of how they report, and I do agree with I think he's a brother. I don't hear him sound peace to you, Black Beauty. Appreciate the shout out. Look, it's resources that the Blacks in Chicago are talking about, not race. We're not stuck on race like that. If we were stuck on race, you'll hear about Blacktown like you hear about Chinatown, Swiss Town, Boys Town, that's what they call the alphabet town, Boys Town. We don't have that. We're the nicest people and have always been, even since the continent. People just come in, we just give them home. We're home like Southern hospitality because the Black migration led to Chicagoans. My father from Mississippi. So what? Most people here, Milwaukee, Chicago, don't get me wrong. Some of us do have Native American background. It is in my family, but that's from Virginia, then got here. Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, then here. I know that side of my family. The African side of my family. The word Milwaukee and Chicago are Native American words. I'm not going to make this a whole, we've been here whole time first stuff, though. I'm not with that. Africa is Africa, man. Like, hey, you come from there. Do what you want to do with that. But here we go. Resources on one end. On the other end, media magic. People are worried about a race war. People are worried about being replaced. I'm going to tell you conversations I have heard on the other end. I'm going to heat it up for you. People are worried about, they sitting in Afro-Latinos. Is this going to be the new Black people? People who are coming with a culture? Not saying we don't have a culture. Maybe I'm saying we have a subculture. Dynasty did a show on that before. You got to define what Black culture is for yourself. But I can say this to you. We don't got a culture like the Nigerians. We don't have a culture like not even Afro-Latinos coming in. Now, a lot of people are scared that they're sending in the new Blacks. They're sending replacement Blacks in. Some people are worried about that. Some people are worried. Some people who've been in the military are stating that this is the first formula to military destabilization. Which one? Regardless of what they're worried about, their biggest concern is I'm already fighting for resources and I pay the taxes here. I can't buy a bag of chip that ain't $4-5. I can't get a check without FICA. 85% of the checks here are gone. And that's just 85. And I can break that down for you. 85% of checks here are gone. And don't be on child support because all your money gone. 100% of your check is gone before you touch it. Out everything you pay, and you're paying for things in Chicago, TIP funds, property funds. These are supposed to pay for things to better your life. But they're saying we're not getting, we're getting to better our lives. We're not saying that the ones coming in are the problem. Let us all stop focusing on who's coming in for safety, who's coming in who have been beat up like we've been beat up, have been colonized like we've been colonized. And look at their humanity and stop taking our eyes off the prize. Who's bringing them in? Who's spending the money to bring them in? Who's spending the money on when they get here? Who decided to say that the money we've been paying is going to go here when we said it should have been coming into my pocket, to my home, to my children, to my schools?
So the question
coming over. So go ahead.
Yeah, the problem here is when you look at the United States, right? You have certain entry points. You have the South, that Mexico, Texas border. Of course, you have New York, So you have places where you have immigrants who come into the United States and usually settle either in the East Coast or down south in Texas and in Arizona and so forth. So based on the xenophobia of those places, especially Texas, right, in Florida, where based on their political ideology, they're trying to, take those people from there and send them to democratic, cities where they refer to as sanctuary cities. And that's where this whole problem is coming from. If you look, at the root cause, and like Dinas was saying, that this is what black people voted for. So these, Republican governors are sending these people to these predominantly Democratic and African American cities. But again, if you look at New York, a lot of people in New York are immigrants. Even the black people in New York, a lot of them would trace their heritage back to Jamaica or Haiti, or some form of immigrant grandparents or parents that came to this country. A lot of Italians who immigrated to New York. And New York is still a democratic city that's thriving, one of the most successful cities and states within this country. The same thing with Texas. A lot of people in Texas are Mexican descent. So when they're trying to say like immigration is bad, not necessarily. Texas is not it's not a bad place to live. It's a thriving city. Well, all the immigration they've had over the years, it hasn't made Texas into a quote unquote shithole a state. So having people in Chicago, yes, it's going to be some some strains right away, but once those people settle and they get dispersed throughout the Midwest, things will stabilize. So I don't see it as a net negative. That's the point I was trying to make, and I don't think any one of us are saying is a negative.
Hey, Todd.
There's, hey, hold on, Flick. Oh, go ahead, honey.
A brother did pay $4.99 to post on Dinas, and I did say we were going to answer. I love to keep my word. And Todd, I'll go after you. But Dinas, if you can post that brother that put the $4.99 up for his post to be seen and read, to keep my honor to him, I would very much appreciate that after Todd speaks.
I gotta find the super chat, man. I gotta go back and find it. Hey, brother who super chatted, do me a favor, repost your question so I can post it.
Thanks, Dinas. Todd.
Okay. Hey, so Elvis, what you were talking about, I can understand what you are alluding to, what you are trying to say. However, you have to, especially when it comes to the U.S. and immigration, you have to take into account history. It is an unfair comparison when you try to compare any other immigrant group to like Mexicans, especially and in particularly to like the Southwest or the West in general, especially considering that all of that used to be Mexico. You understand what I'm saying? So like even the names like California and Los Angeles and all of that, hey, that was colonized by Spain in the U.S. history. Texas and all of this stuff. When they changed the borders, something similar to what happened during the Berlin Conference. You got Niger and Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? Same thing. Just we just gonna place a border right here. That don't mean that y'all not the same people, though. You see what I'm saying? So like the population, we can say the foundational Mexican population, even if you wanted to, or the foundational Mexican Indian population of the U.S. Southwest. A lot of them folks, they had ties there way before the U.S. took Texas and New Mexico and Colorado and Arizona and California. You see what I'm saying? So like less than 250 years ago. So you can't really make a fair comparison when you're talking about those people in particular. Now, we always, because we're Americans, what we do is we index everything. We say black people. We say white people, as if all white people is the same thing, or all black people is the same thing. And we say Hispanics, as if all people who speak Spanish is the same thing. Saying Hispanic is just like saying Anglophone or Francophone. That is a language group. That is not an ethnicity. You see
Todd.
what I'm saying? So, yeah, my bad. I was going too long. My bad.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Can you pause for 1 second?
Hey, hey, let me read this super chat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, Dynasty. You want me to
man, if you're a bad steward of your finances, it won't matter how much you get on or share with immigrants. Earn money and live frugal is the solution. Yeah, and then we'll take we'll take one more question and then we'll close out. Go ahead, Complex.
Oh man, Philip is on here, Dynasty. I thought
Philip, you want to call in? Let Philip call in.
Philip, I think that's Philip Lindsay, right?
I'll put the link in the chat room.
Yeah, and Martha Vineyard said, Dr. Umar, I was just trying to read some of your chats, Dynasty, because you know your people love you.
No, go ahead.
Martha Vineyard said, Dr. Umar tried to tell y'all what was going on. These people will eventually take over your votes. Don't disagree with you as much, but they're still not the enemy. Here's the thing. The smartest thing you can do in the Art of War, any of y'all read the Art of War, and not even read the Art of War, if you even read African Art of War, what sense does it make when you got Afro-Latinos coming in? They got one side of them that's language, one side of them that's the same color as yours and an African descendant. What sense does it make for you not to join with them than to make a new enemy? Seriously, I'm for real. Like, you gotta be, you ain't never been in war before. You must not have gangbanged. You must not have been in the army. You must not have been in any kind of strategic anything before, because if you don't realize if they're coming over, why don't you say, hey, like when my people came over, welcome. When my people immigrated from down south, welcome. Because it was another country before they immigrated to the north, by the way. Because they separated, they was another country. They immigrated to the Illinois Territory, Indiana Territory, Northwest Territory, Midwest Territory, blah, blah, blah. Immigrant.
Cherokee Territory.
Right. Immigration. You're arguing against something your ancestors went through, making a new enemy instead of making a new friend. And I have a problem with that. Now get your money.
However, and not to cut you off, however, I will say the difference is people immigrating or migrating, because I wouldn't necessarily call it immigrating, I would call it migrating within their own homeland. That's the difference, as opposed to, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm gonna leave here and I'm going here. It is the same thing of what Pan-Africanism should be, or how it should be practiced on the continent. If there is, for whatever reason, a continental African decides to leave their place, they should not be trying to get on no boat to go to Europe or go to America or any place. They should be trying to go to another African place.
Well, Phil said he's not coming on. Dinah said he was gonna close out. So Dinah, if you want to let Todd and Elvis and we close out, unless somebody's coming on, especially if you're from Venezuela or Colombia, like, come on, you got a chance to talk right now. But if not, Dinah did mention closing out. Phil just sent a message saying he's not able to come on right now. So Dinah, you know, tell us what you want to do. Dinus? Dinus? I don't know where he went. All right, so
hey, well, hey, until Dinus get back, I suggest everybody don't forget to go to Xenophobic.Africa.
Oh yeah,
He got trips coming up.
Dinus is on his way to Nigeria this week with the
all right, guys.
booming.
Nice little chat. I'm gonna get out. Thank you for having me, though.
Peace and blessings, Elvis. Always a pleasure, sir. Dinus is heading to Nigeria this weekend or next week. Sunday is next week. Everybody do prayers. You know, he always blessed and always good. But I'm just saying, give him some extra oomph. You know, extra whatever you got, extra prayers. You know, wish him and everybody going to Nigeria for this trip the best blessings. As you remember yesterday's show and the news you're watching, you know, they're trying to push ECOWAS states up against the whole Niger conflict thing. And Nigeria is the leader and has actually a large population for ECOWAS to, or for, I don't want to say what nations to tell We want Nigeria to be the head of the arrow per se to tell Niger blah blah. So they gave them till around Sunday. Dinah's in the group will be there Sunday, and I'm saying that's love. When you go with Dinah's, rain, snow, or sleep, he up on his feet. So wish him luck, y'all. Not even luck. Wish him blessings. I wish him blessings in the fire, and I wish his whole group blessings, and he will have his blessings. And I wish the continent of Africa blessings. I wish the continent of America blessings, and the continent of South America blessings. Dinah, you back? Ty, go ahead.
Hey, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I was just powering down. You know what I'm saying? Intellectually wise, just powering down to see what the end was gonna be with this particular episode. Now I will say, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that support the channel. You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
Even if we disagree, because like I said, I'm ADOS centric. However, I still engage, and I don't think that there's necessarily no beef or nothing like that needs to be had. Just like I was talking to Elvis, I call him my cousin, because you my cousin. If you still listening, you my cousin. You see what I'm saying? And we just gotta hash some things out and kind of see what's what.
Cool. We anything else you'd like to share in closing, Complex?
Yeah, one more thing. Just for your most of the people posting seem to be more FBA centered ish. AAADOS, I don't, and I'm not sure about Baruti Katembo and Tutankara. Peace out to you, Queen Kandeke Amaranius, Ethiopia. Shout out, Black Beauty. A lot of people have been posting Dinah's. If they ain't with us, they're against us, this, that, and the other. Here's the thing, y'all. You wanted to be with you, be with yourself first. Be with yourself and get them something to be with. That's number one, because we ain't together like that. But I hope we are, because I don't speak against us coming together. But don't act like ADOS, African American, Black, Afro American, whatever name, is together the way we can be and we used to be, like our great grandparents. Let's get ourselves back. Let's get our African mind back. Let's stop bashing them because they're coming over and telling them they got to choose a side. Let's make the side so what would we call attractive. There's no other side to choose but self. With that, one Chicago, one people, one nation, and peace and love to y'all, man. Like, come together and stop making new enemies. You can't afford it. I promise you can't. That's what I got to say.
Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dinah's Mirror Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.